Hello, everyone. My name is Cadet. Before I start, I want to say two things. I'm here, the reason why I'm here is the fault, and it's the doing of Chris Buttle, and to a lesser extent, Jill Harrington. So 6 months ago, I didn't think I'd be doing an event such as this one, but here I am today, and very happy to be here among you. Secondly, despite what Professor Fellows might think or what Chris might think, I have the absolute best job at McGill today. So I'm basically planning a party, and I'm here to invite all of you to attend that party starting in September 2020. So basically, what will we be doing? What's my job here at McGill? I'm helping coordinate the university's 200th anniversary, which will run from September 2020 to October 2021. So McGill will celebrate its 200th anniversary. And how will we be doing it? What do we want to accomplish? What's our vision? What are our goals? How can you all be involved, and how can we be of service to what you want to achieve? That's what I'm here to talk about. Mostly in English, but il y aura certaines petites parties en français également. So what do we want to accomplish through the Bicentennial? Well, turning 200 doesn't happen every day or every year, so it's an incredible opportunity to take a step back and reflect and celebrate the accomplishments of this institution. And what I mean by that, it's not so much the rock and mortar, but the people who've made this institution what it is today. So celebrating the people across the university's history. It's also an opportunity, an incredible opportunity to engage our communities. And what we mean by our communities are our different stakeholders and the different people and organizations and groups that are involved in the life of McGill, whether we're talking about our current or future students, whether we're talking about our alumni, our faculty and staff, the general population. Most of you are students at McGill, but some of you are not students. But we want to welcome the general population, whether you're a Montrealer, a Quebecer, a tourist, a Canadian, or living around the world. So we're thinking about ways to engaging these communities, whether you're a government representative as well, who's dealing with us. We want to show you what we do as well. So funders, donors, alumni, students, and whatnot. It's an opportunity not only to celebrate, but to also develop a vision of what we want McGill to be for the next 100 or 200 years. And at the same time as developing that vision of launching the university into our third century. So those are lofty goals. They are more prosaic goals, such as reinforcing the university's priorities on our shorter term, and also show all the different stakeholders how the university has evolved throughout its history, and the fact that the university will continue to evolve over the next decades, and how the university will remain a central player, not only in Montreal, but in debates in Quebec and Canada and around the world. So what are our guiding principles? What are we trying to, what's in my mind and the people who are working on this? Well, while we'll be celebrating accomplishments, we recognize that it's a very good opportunity, a great opportunity to look forward to some of the challenges that face the world. Donc, de regarder ce que nous pourrons faire au cours du 21e siècle et comment l'université pourra contribuer à l'amélioration de la vie de la population. This is what a university is for. It's also an opportunity. One of the things that we're looking at as well that guides us is what are our values, what are McGill's values, and how do we reflect that through those celebrations. It's not about being rah, 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 rah. It's about recognizing the fact that we're an institution that is centered in Montreal and in Quebec. We need to recognize that. We're an institution that values teaching and research. So the celebrations will highlight these things amongst the values. We need to remain inclusive and open. It's not only about us, it's about everyone who surrounds us. So that, in terms of the planning, needs to be highlighted. One thing that is particularly important to me is how do we involve the students throughout the planning of these celebrations. And one of the things that's been really interesting today is that the definition of student is not limited to 18 to 22-year-olds. A lot of you are students as well. So how do we get you to participate not only in the events, but also in the next 3 years of planning? And a lot of, I'm very sorry that I wasn't able to be here the full day, but a lot of what you've talked about have given me food for thought in terms of how do we involve you in what we want to do, and how do you push us in taking into consideration what's important to you in terms of the celebrations. We're a public institution, we need to be cognizant of the fact that we already have a very good programming throughout the university, using that to highlight our accomplishments. Again, and also the funding component, we should never, that's an important component. We need to be cognizant of that. So it's an important principle. And another, something that's not mentioned very often, not to be crass, but there needs to be a wow factor. There are 4 million people who live in the greater Montreal area. L'offre de entertainment est extraordinaire à Montréal. So we need to excite people. We need people to be able to say, yeah, I will come to McGill. Instead of going to that play, I will come to an event at McGill. So we need to wow people, and we need to be cognizant of that. So how will we be doing that? What types of events are we looking at? Well, one thing, learning from other universities, as I mentioned before, our faculties already have a number of very interesting and important events that go on throughout the year. Nous nous servirons de ces événements-là comme pierre d'achoppement pour, pas comme pierre d'achoppement, but as an anchor for our celebrations. So regular events will be highlighted there. And whereas possible, our faculties will create a very limited number of new projects or events that will highlight the celebrations. What we call institutional and signature events, so things like our convocation ceremonies, open house, and other big institutional events will have bicentennial themes. Our office will create a number of limited special projects that we call signature projects, and we will try to support as well our alumni, our staff, our faculty, and students here in Montreal and around the world in developing faculty, staff, student-led events. Now, what are some of the projects that we're looking at? This is a preliminary list, and please don't take me, if none of them happen in 3 or 4 years, it's not my fault. I'm not responsible for that. There'll be something else. But these are some of the projects that we're looking at this time. So, you may not know that, but McGill will turn 200 years old officially on March 31st, 2021. However, at that date, it will be Passover. So we will be celebrating a little later the celebrations. A very important project that we're looking at is potentially partnering with the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts to highlight McGill's contributions to the arts in Montreal over the last 200 years. An event that we've been starting to look at is McGill in Space. So here's a question for you all. How many Canadian astronauts are there? 3? No. Higher. Higher. 14 in the history of Canada, current and future. How many of them have a tie to McGill? No, come on, 14. I'd like that, but no, 5. So McGill is very highly represented in that field. And we feel that it would be an opportunity to recognize these people and the university's contribution in space exploration. And again, with the bent towards looking towards the future, it would be an opportunity here. The next one might sound, why are they working with the Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce? Why do you think we would want to work or celebrate with La Chambre de Commerce? Is there, you see, I'm being the prof here, it's not good, but anyways, I don't care. So what would lead us to want to partner with the Chamber of Commerce? Do you have an idea? What? Yeah, but we have McGill graduates just about everywhere. There are 250,000 of them, so. Yes, the Chamber of Commerce will turn 200 as well in 2021. So again, it's an opportunity to work with other stakeholders and other organizations to show that we're not alone, that we're celebrating, but not alone. It's always important to bring the faculty and the staff together to showcase their contribution to the university. So a faculty and staff party is being contemplated, but not only the current faculty and staff, but also the retirees. And that's a link that I'm making with you guys here today. It's important, I'll say it in French, c'est important d'avoir la mémoire historique, et c'est aussi important d'avoir l'histoire vivante des gens qui sont là, d'avoir des gens qui ont vécu l'histoire de l'université depuis 20, 30, 40, 50 ou 60 ans. Ben, ça donne une vision différente que de juste lire le livre sur l'histoire de McGill. Donc, c'est quelque chose que l'on regarde à fond. The last one, people seem to be very excited about it. I don't know why, but a music and film festival on Lower Campus where we could attract festivals, plays, films, all throughout the summer of 2021, bringing people on campus. Some of you have mentioned that to me today. One of the most difficult things about this wonderful university is that there is a sense around Montreal, across the region, that McGill is closed off to the population. I had that sense when I was growing up. But we want to open the gates. You know, the gates are open to the population. The population does not necessarily come in. This will be an opportunity for us to say, come on in. This university is yours. We want you to bet. We're not just celebrating amongst ourselves. We want you to celebrate. We need you to celebrate with us. And a music and film festival in the downtown core of Montreal is a great way of doing that. So, what's the link of all of that with lifelong learning and living? Lifelong living and learning, or learning and living? Learning and living. Well, as the keynote speaker showed this morning, developing such a program is a long process. The Bicentennial launches in about 3 years. We figured it provides an opportunity to plan and work on that and develop and launch if McGill is to do something interesting and important in that realm during the Bicentennial. So it's an opportunity for us to engage with a broader community, not just the people that we work with and the people who either through MCLL or the people who attend our events, but for us to go towards a larger audience and to bring them in to what we do. That year also affords us an opportunity to test new ideas, to look for new ways of doing things. We can experiment. We do that already, but we can do that on a larger scale during that year. And it's a great moment to launch new initiatives. Some initiatives will be launched over the next 2 or 3 years, but during that year when we'll have the eyes of the world on us, we can be bolder, we can launch larger initiatives, and something like lifelong living and learning is an interesting and potentially transformative experiment. So lifelong living and learning could be one of these important and transformational initiatives that university could look at. I'm not standing here today saying it will happen. As Chris mentioned, there are a lot of potential hurdles to overcome, but it's something that I feel that has the power of being transformational and having us engaging with a community with whom we don't necessarily engage enough. So there's an opportunity here. So what would be a sign of success for us? Well, if we can engage and people and the different groups engage in return with us. So whether they're students, alumni, faculty, staff, the broader population of Montreal, Quebec, in Canada, si on a des gens de la TUC qui disent « Ah, mais c'est vraiment bien, McGill, ce que vous avez fait cette année », we'll be happy. If we have people from Sept-Îles, Greenfield Park, that will be a sign of success. It doesn't have, and it should not be limited to the downtown core of Montreal, because this university, maybe you don't know it, but through our activities, we cover over 60% of this province. So we need to be having engagement with our communities. Lasting legacies. What do we call lasting legacies? It's not just about statutes. It's not just about a new program, but lasting legacy in the sense that people are participating and are engaging, are beginning a type of engagement, and will continue through after that year. Well-attended events. You know, it makes no sense to work for 3 years, de préparer de bons événements et tout, et d'avoir 10 personnes. I will cry. I don't generally, but if that happens, I will cry. So, and a broad range of events through our faculties and what we do. So what are we looking at over the next few months? Well, I didn't talk about the vision or the themes that will guide this. We're working on that. In the near future, we'll be potentially able to announce what the vision for the Bicentennial will be. Outreach to our inside and outside communities. We're very interested in doing outreach, talking to as many people and listening to ideas. If you have, it can be the craziest of ideas. Someone proposed doing a continental around the world for our Bicentennial. To me, it's the greatest idea ever. You know, we'll all dance together on one day. We'll be developing our budget and creating a calendar and a timeline and having a communications plan, because you need to communicate these ideas, these events, and the fact that this university will continue to be an important stakeholder in this city, in this province. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, it will be my pleasure.